Hey everyone, welcome to Knitting with QueerJoe Live. This is an exciting morning for me. Hopefully things will work out. Technologically, I'm not so sure that things are working out. Would one of you do me a favor who are watching? Would you just write a comment and just let me know wherever you're watching that you can see me and hear me now? That's awesome. Thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. That's awesome. Thanks. I was, for some reason, I was thinking that I'm using a kind of a consolidator to stream on different platforms, including Facebook and YouTube. And so I was thinking that I could potentially see my comments and reactions from all of you from all the platforms consolidated, but it doesn't look like I can. So yes, and Blair, I am definitely hanging out with some real dummies today. Texas can see and hear you. Thanks, Lori. Thanks everyone for joining me. For those of you who don't know me, I am QueerJoe, Joe Wilcox, and I've been writing a QueerJoe knitting blog since back in 2002, 2004, something like that, for a long time. And I've started recently doing Knitting with QueerJoe videos that I publish to YouTube. And recently I requested that some of the folks give feedback on what they'd like to see as part of my YouTube channel. And by far, let me show you some of those. Can I get that? Let me show you some of the comments that we got. So one of the first comments that I got was from Martina. My only criticism is that you don't have enough pictures of Finn, my cat. Cats and knitting just go together. And then we had Charity, which finishes up a rather long post here. I enjoy your writing photos and work. I wouldn't be averse to more photos of Finn either. Then we had Meredith, maybe you could do questions and answers. So I figured I would add that into the QueerJoe Live for today. That'll be towards the end. So if you guys aren't interested in the rest of this, you're more than welcome to come back then. Martina says, would you be willing to do a post on crochet that's useful for knitters to know, with maybe some links to helpful videos on how to do the stitches? Oh, and maybe throw in a couple of photo bombs as Finn walks by. So again, Finn shows up. I won't be doing the crochet for knitters as part of today, but I may end up doing a tutorial type video on that sometime in the future. Thank you for that suggestion. NC Knitter Bear, who is Tom, says your stats would soar if you had Finn in every post and video. Just saying. And then we have Lisa. I am dying to pick your design brain. What makes one design more or less successful than another? Do men view design differently than women? As I get older, blah, blah, blah. It would be awesome to bring Lisa on someday as part of a Knitting with QueerJoe Live, or even just a recorded one where she kind of does a reverse interview. And finally, Tommy says Q&A can be fun, or you can interview or find something fun to do with other fiber friends or knit or crochet alongs. I guess it really boils down to what you'll enjoy doing that fits in with your overall online presence. Well, first of all, I'm going to address the majority of the comments when it comes to my channel feed and give you what you've all been asking for. So this is a 3-minute video. I can make this a little larger for you guys. This is Finn waiting for his daily brush in the morning. I lie down on the couch and get ready to do a brushing for him. Now, he's hopped up into my lap and I've kind of just faced the camera at his face and started brushing him while I did that. It's a little bit difficult to hold a cat on my lap, brush him, and take a video of it with my iPhone, so you can see it's a little bit off and weird, but he does like his daily brushing, however. Hi, Tommy. Good to see you. Hi, Ron. Nice to see you from Maine. Thanks. Bob Clark. Bob Clark, I hope that's for Finn. And here you get a little bit of a more full-length view of Finn in my lounging lap, getting his brushing. So some of the things we're going to do today is, after we get through with Finn, we're going to have 3 giveaways during the course of the live stream. It's only going to be 45 minutes max, but during that time we're going to do 3 distinct giveaways, which will be kind of like pop quiz sort of like things. So get your morning brains ready. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the current works in progress that I have, that I've got going on the needles, and show you those. We're also going to do talk a little bit about a soft launch that I've done in the past couple days with regard to virtual craft shows, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And finally, I'm going to end it with as much Q&A as we can fit in after all is said and done. After Finn's done with his brushing, he always insists on sniffing my latte. He has to at least sniff it once. He never tastes it. He just wants to sniff it, and then he does biscuits usually for a while. This is almost done, I swear. I don't know what I did to deserve this cat, but he's a sweetheart doll. I just love this guy, and he's so much fun. Now this is Finn helping me knit while I watch television. Of course, he doesn't help at all. And that's it. So there's your dose of Finn. Hopefully that'll give you a... Hi, Hoskins. Welcome. Good to see you. Thanks. So some of the folks who came in through Facebook might not see the same comments as those who joined from YouTube. And so since I'm streaming live on both, I think, I'm going to be responding to comments on both. The problem with that is, since they're not consolidated necessarily, what's going to happen is when we do the question quizzes, the giveaway quizzes, I'm going to have to look to see who answers them in both formats. So Amelia's watching. Amelia, hi, sweetie. Finn is adorable. He's a great cat. Okay, we're going to do our first pop quiz giveaway. So be prepared. I'm going to put it on the screen, and I'll also read it aloud. And write your answers in. Hi, Michael. Good to see you too. Thanks. Just write your answers in comments, and either in YouTube comments or in Facebook comments, and whichever one I get first will win the first prize. And the first prize is any of my patterns on Ravelry you can have for free as a gift. So here's a question. Ready? Giveaway question number 1. Current cat name is Finn. Can you give the name of any other cat we've had? There seems to be a slight delay in terms of when you guys get these things, and when I start seeing, it's usually about a 5-second delay, it looks like, before I start getting comments. So I'm just going to keep talking on, and as soon as we end up getting... Blair went with Tiger. Nope. Little Tommy Taylor says no, and that's not the name of any of our other cats. And Jay knows. Yeah, we actually do. We visit all 3 of our former cats. For some reason, Walter comes to mind. Tommy, no. definitely not Walter. So I'll give you a clue. Our favorite cat that we've ever had has a name that's the same word that we use in knitting for something for which we do swatches. Bunny? No, sorry. It's spelled differently, but it's, what is it? A homophone? It sounds the same. Pearl? No, definitely not Pearl. So why would we do a swatch? Come on, knitters. Gage! Yes! Bob Clark wins the first giveaway question. Congratulations, Bob Clark. Did that go? Oh, oh, that's why. Hold on. One more time. Yes, Tommy got it, but he was second. Christopher got it. He was third. And Andy, my sister, got it too. Andrea. Chaps was our first cat that we ever had, actually. Good one. Jay Vogel, he cheated. Bob Clark cheated? There is no way of cheating on these. That's the great thing. Thank you all for playing that one. We'll have 2 more giveaways over the course of the live feed today, so all will be good. And the prizes get better, too. Bob only won a shitty pattern of mine that any of my patterns he can have for free at this point, and I know how to get in contact with Bob, so I will definitely get his Ravelry address and ask him which pattern he wants. Bob Clark. I have to write down the winner. Great. Okay. So what's next? So we've done the giveaway. Okay, let's talk a little bit about current knitting. Now, most of you who pay attention to the blog think that I only have a couple works in progress going, but I actually have quite a few. So most of you are familiar with the fact that I have the Shaker Rib Cardigan that I've been working on. I don't have that handy right near me. In fact, it's right in front of me, but it's kind of hung up at this point. I'm kind of at a stuck point with this work in progress, believe it or not. As stupid as this sounds, I didn't do a gauge swatch, as funny as that sounds. And so the sweater is going to be much larger than it should be if I follow the instructions completely. And so as a result, I have to go back and measure the old sweater to make sure that the full length cuff to cuff across the top of the shoulder is the correct length. And so I just keep putting off doing that and starting on new projects. And one of the other new projects I've started that you guys are familiar with if you've been current with the blog is my Euphoria, a spiral Euphoria design. That's just an awesome Mobius design. So one of the things I wanted to show you, because it's a little bit easier on video to show, is when you look at the overall project, it's actually on a looped needle so that you can get the Mobius and just knit continuously in a Mobius strip. So for any of those people that when they were younger cut out a strip of paper and taped it together with one twist in the piece of paper and then drew a line along the entire length of the paper, you realize that you actually end up writing on both sides. If you understand that, great, but it's a very similar concept with this particular Mobius thing. So if you start knitting down this way and start knitting around, and this has got one twist in it as well, and so I'm knitting down here and I'm knitting down here, and then it comes back in here and up through here. So you're actually knitting on both sides of this fabric, which is an amazingly cool thing. It's done through the use of Cat Bordy's Mobius cast on, if you want to look that up. And it's just a really stunning thing. This particular shawl, I'm really looking forward to. I love the colors of this yarn. It's a little bit harder to see than in real life, but the colors are really rich and vibrant. I like them a lot. And I think they're also colorful enough, but also muted enough in such a way that I think a lot of men would like the cowl as well. And so I'm really excited about that one. What time is it? 11:18. So we're doing fine with time. The next one is one of the things that I always do whenever I get, good morning, Joe. Hi, Detta. Got to keep checking my, thanks, Andy. And Lori, thank you. So the thing that I always run away from projects with whenever I have projects that I don't want to focus on, like the Shaker Rib Cardigan, is one of my knitted cross-stitch scarves. Knitted cross-stitch scarves are knit lengthwise scarves, and there's this particular one has 328 stitches on it. I'm using these two yarns to, oh, I have to close that out, sorry. I'm using these two yarns, there we are, centered. I love the deep, rich colors in this. That's a unique fingering weight yarn by Earth Yarns. It's spelled U-R-T-H. And as the people who meet up with me every day on our men's Zoom meetup for knitting know that they sponsor our Zoom meeting account, and so they actually pay for 2 channels so that people can meet up during the time of COVID via Zoom, and that's at theperfectpearl.com or hashtag theperfectpearl. And so I'm constantly reminding people of who our sponsors are for that. Also, one of the other things that I decided to do was knit more for craft shows, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. So the knitted cross-stitch scarf is going to be another one of those items I put up for sale. I can never seem to have enough of those when I have craft shows, and now that I've come up with an alternative to craft shows, maybe, then I figured we could. I could never have enough of those. I can sell them at a relatively inexpensive price point. They're only $52 for a nice, beautiful all-wool scarf, and still make some money on those. So it's a really good project for me. The other thing I decided to do was do some production knitting of gloves. I thought fingerless gloves are a really nice thing, and I came up with this really nice packaging idea for putting on these, and I'll put this, I'll talk a little bit more about this in future blog posts, but this is just the starting of a friend's glove design. He calls it Choose Your Own Cable Adventure. Basically what he does is he has a cable pattern stitch go up the side of his gloves. I do it without a cable. That is my adventure. And Selma Kaplan from the old days at WAMC. That's right, she should be the one doing this. Selma Kaplan was somebody who I've known for years. She was a producer. I forget what her actual title was. She's had multiple different roles at WAMC, the public radio station up in Albany. And when we first found out about Selma, a good friend of ours, Kathy, was going up to visit her, sight unseen, because they had a correspondence via email, and we were like, Kathy, are you sure? We've met some like real wackos in the knitting community. Are you sure? You know, how do you know she's not an axe murderer? Well, that was all it took. For a number of years after that, Selma was known as Selma the Axe Murderer, and or murderess. She's nothing at all like that. She's actually an awesome person. And people even recognize her voice because she used to have the morning show on the WAMC up in Albany. So those are all my current knitting projects that I'm working on. Really grateful to have a lot that I'm working on so that I can go back and forth between a lot of them. But that brings us to our next giveaway question. And since we just went through works in progress, I figured, oh, I was supposed to do that. I'm not sure which one this is, so I can't remember what question this is, to tell you the truth, but it's going to be displayed on the screen in a quick second. So be prepared. I'm about to put it up on the screen. And again, answer in comments, and the first one who answers from the experter. Thanks, Selma. Oh, God, Selma used to sing on the fundraisers. Anyway, we're about to do the second giveaway. Are you ready? Okay, here we go. Ah, that's what it is. Giveaway question number 2, and the prize for this one is a free copy of a new pattern out called the Sankofa pattern, and I'll talk a little bit about that. I was supposed to talk about it during current works in progress. All you have to do is name this hat design. It's a very popular hat design, but I figured since I was giving away a knitting pattern that I'd give a question that pretty much only knitters would know. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate knowing that YouTube and Facebook Live are like 2 seconds apart. I wonder which one's faster. You should probably comment on that one if that one's faster. So you can see the hat pattern is actually directly back here on one of my mannequins. Okay, I'll let you mull that one over. And while you do, YouTube is faster. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it. So the pattern that you're going to win if you, and I think I can do this a little bit differently. Let's go with photo search. Does nobody know this one? I'm surprised nobody recognizes this pattern design for the hat. It's by a very, very well-known designer. He's more well known for his shawls than he is for hats. Can't tell whether I've lost everyone. Yes, it is a Stephen West. Yes, Leslie. Yep, and not who the designer is, but the name of the hat design. Yes, Tommy, it is Stephen West, definitely. Tommy has no idea. So while you go through that, so for those of you who joined a little bit late, we're going through a pretty set agenda. I've gone through my introduction and why I'm doing this and some of the comments. Yes, Jay Vogel, he wins the new Sankofa design from Michael Green. Michael Green, or MDG Designs, has designed this awesome, and I'm going to just try to see if I can show. I don't know if you can see this. Let's see if we can close this out. Okay. So yes, I think you can see this now, right? This is Michael Green's new cowl pattern that he's just about to put out there. And you can win a free copy of this pattern. When it comes out, I will gift it to your Ravelry account. Uh-oh, forgot. Hold on, please. Thanks, Ann. Yes, I need Jeopardy music, or I'll just keep talking, because God knows I can do that. Congratulations, Jay. That's awesome. YouTube is faster, Stephen West, great. So the Sankofa design is basically this beautiful cowl that Michael has designed. It's specifically designed for people who want to start doing color work in their knitting. He's made it very simple, and let me see if that's the reverse. No, I don't want to do that. No. So there's another, that's a really good photo of it. He uses a Sankofa design, which is a bird looking behind itself, in back of itself, and he just created a beautiful, easy to do pattern that I was privileged to actually be able to test knit for him. And the pattern is scheduled to go live and be available, I think, today, tomorrow, or Monday. I forget which one. And so as soon as it is, we will definitely be getting that pattern out to Jay. So congratulations. It's an awesome pattern, and I know you've been wanting to do it anyway. And yeah, thanks, Dad. I appreciate it. Those colors turned out to be incredibly beautiful. There's kind of a more of a tealish look to the blue in that than it kind of shows in photographs, but it really is great and nice to know. So that's good. Now I want to, how am I going to do that? Oh, that's how I'll do it. So the next part, I want to do an announcement of something that's going on in my world. Now, those of you who have been following along on the blog have been kind of privy to a soft launch of this. But I also am going to be looking, what the hell happened to that? Oh my goodness. Huh, that's so weird. Oh well. So, back to you. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted. So one of the things that I've been doing in my spare time is I used to do about 2 or 3 craft shows a year, and I would sell my hand-knitted items. So the things you see here and here are typical items that I'd sell at my craft shows. Obviously, this past year, those craft shows got canceled, and so I wasn't able to do those craft shows because of COVID. And how much do those patterns typically cost? It varies. Most of my patterns, I shouldn't talk about most of my patterns. I don't charge very much for mine. I imagine most cowl and scarf patterns these days are about anywhere between $7 and $10 for the pattern. And Michael's isn't published yet, so I don't know how much he's planning on charging for it, so I don't want to set expectations and then have him not be able to put it out at that cost. But regardless what the cost is, Jay will be getting his free copy of it. So going back to that, so one of the things that I used to do is I knit all year long for 2 or 3 craft shows that I have towards the end of the year, near the Christmas time frame. And I was told that at most craft shows that you can really only sell about 20% of the items that you have in inventory. And after that, your table starts to look picked over and not as good. And so so I figured I needed to sell at least 20 items at a craft show to make it profitable. And so as a result, I used to have at least 100 items in inventory every time I'd go to a craft show. And then as I'd sell things at the craft shows, I'd work throughout the rest of the year making more scarves and hats, and I really only do accessories, things that aren't really sized, so that I don't have to worry about, you know, sweater sizes and things like that, and shawls and things like that that are one size fits most type of items. And so during this whole year, I've been knitting as if I was going to have a craft show, even though I haven't. And so I finally decided to sit down and inventory what I had in my craft show inventory to see how many I had out there. And so I kind of like tallied it all up, and I only had like about 110. It didn't seem like I had very much. And I was like, oh, that's not as much as I thought. I thought I'd been knitting a lot more than that. And then I realized, oh, I was missing a shawl or something. I couldn't find a specific shawl that I knew I had made for the craft shows. And so I went looking. Well, I found a whole nother bin of knitted items, which was about 30 more items. And then I thought, so now I have about 140 items. And then I found another bag of about a dozen items. So I had a significant number of inventory items in my craft show stuff. So I thought, well, I might as well create a virtual craft show and set up a website where people, if they were interested, could go out and do that. And so I've gone ahead and set up, not to interrupt your train of thought, but what happened to the front of your really nice sweater? I'll talk about that in a second, Merritt. Thank you. Usually, you know, I'm used to Zoom, where Zoom doesn't show enough detail in the video to be able to see that kind of stuff, but I will talk about that. So I set up a virtual craft show, and let me show you what it looks like. Now, just as I did, go to my website. I had just done an update this morning. It actually changed my website when I did the update to it, and there's actually text that goes in a box up here. So the front page is actually kind of screwed up, and so I'm going to have to go back and fix that. But basically, when you go to DoublePointed Designs is my design name, and if you go to doublepointed.com, you will see currently I have what? I have about 66 items out in my virtual craft show at this point. I only have hats, scarves, and shawls or wraps currently out there, and you can look at them directly through that or shop all categories or whatever. I also, since one of the things that I do when I'm at craft shows is point customers, walking through customers to other people that I do craft shows with, I figured that I would set up links to their site if they had online sites as well. But it was amazing how quickly these days you can set up relatively easy shopping cart websites, and this is one of those. And so if you, for instance, you go out to the shawls and wraps, and you can see the various shawls and wraps that I've done over the years. A lot of you are familiar with my more recent Primordial Swirls shawl that I did not too long ago on the blog. And so I put that up for sale on the craft show. And it's nice because it allows you to put out multiple pictures of it. You can zoom in. It's amazing the functionality that they create with this. So I've decided to put that out there. So most of the people that read my blog and or view Knitting with QueerJoe are knitters themselves. For those of you that aren't and you're interested in my knitting wear, you can certainly look at it here. But also, if you are a knitter and know people that aren't, who might like to buy knitted stuff that you don't want to knit for them, you're more than welcome to send them out to DoublePointed, and hopefully that'll be of use to the folks there. DoublePointed.com, in case you missed that. Let's see, anything I've missed? Okay, so we haven't gotten to the question and answer part, Merritt, but I'm going to answer your question anyway. I should have put this back. I should have sat further back, perhaps, from the camera. So I have a wardrobe upstairs that's cedar lined, and I store all my sweaters in this, and it's airtight and awesome. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate that feedback too. So I wanted a sweater for today, and this was like one of my very favorite sweaters. It's done in a nice hand-spun Icelandic wool, and I just designed it on the needles, and I really love this sweater. It's warm, it's soft, it's awesome. And so I go to pull out that sweater for today's live broadcast, and hi, Mom. And I go to put it on and realize that there was right here is what Merritt's talking about, or I hope she's talking about that. I realized there was a moth or some sort of bug larva that had eaten, not the full thing, but it made it so threadbare that you could see through the scarf at that point. It was horrifying. And so I pulled out every sweater, and I have dozens in this stupid wardrobe. And oh, thank you, Bob. Did I not say the hat name is Westward? Apologize for that. Yes, the answer was Westward for the second giveaway quiz. So, at any rate, so there is a little hole in this sweater as a result. I didn't have time to actually fix it. I can fix the sweater. It's not too difficult. I even have some of the leftover yarn to be able to do it. So I just quickly sewed the hole closed and hoped people wouldn't notice. But there it is. Horrifying. So we've got 6 more minutes before we go. I'm going to do one more giveaway and then take any questions that y'all might have. So are you ready for the third and final giveaway? Oh, the giveaway for this one is a pretty decent prize. It's a $50 gift certificate at DoublePointed.com. So, and you can use it in any way you want. You could, anyway, it's a $50 gift certificate that you'll win associated with DoublePointed.com, which is my virtual craft show. This one's going to be a little bit tougher, and it doesn't have anything to do with knitting. So you don't have to worry about that. However, it is kind of gay, so you might have an advantage if you're a gay man. Hey, Jim, good to see you. Hey, Luke, nice to see you too. Jesus, Luke's calling in from the Philippines. It's 20 to midnight there. So are you ready for the third and final giveaway? Here it comes. So this is just a matter of identify who's in this photo. It's a young photo of somebody that everybody knows. And while you go ahead and do that, if you don't know or you don't want to play, now I'm going to open it up for questions and answers. And so feel free to post any of your questions. Yes, Michael Graham, congratulations. It is Julie Andrews. Wow, that was fast, Michael. Congratulations. Meryl Streep, nope. Judy Garland, nope. Cloris Leachman, no, that would have been a good one though. No, it wasn't. Julia Andrew, yes, Tommy Gibson. And unfortunately, you were the second one who guessed it right. Michael Graham wins a $50 gift certificate at DoublePointed.com that he can use in any way and any time he wants. Thanks everyone for playing that. And now I'm going to open it up to any questions or any comments or questions that you guys want to make. We have, I forget how many people we have here. I should be able to look. Oh, we're down quite a bit now. And I can't tell from there. So we have about 24, a couple dozen people who are on the call. And I just open it up to any questions. Oh, damn it, Andy, thank you. Congratulations, Michael Graham. Good to see you, Mike. So now we're opening up to any questions, any requests. Okay. While I wait for those, somebody had already posted a request. Let's see, what were some of the earlier ones? The Finn ones were out there. Not that one. This is question and answer, yes. Crochet I'm not going to go into yet. Finn, pick my brain away. I'm actually going to answer a couple of questions that she has in there unless people do. As I get older, I'm starting to think that do men view design differently than women? I wouldn't really know the answer to that question. Did you paste this? So one of the things that I've been doing in my COVID time is hosting a daily 3-hour Zoom meeting for guys who knit, crochet, spin, or tat, or whatever, anything with yarn. And so every day for 3 hours from 12:30 Eastern time, Eastern US and Canada time, through 3:30, we have a group of anywhere from 6 to 24 people in a Zoom room chatting and knitting and crocheting and whatever. And every day I'm supposed to post this link out on Facebook so people know that the room is open and hosted. It's actually open 24 hours a day for any guys that would like to get together and knit, but it's hosted for three hours every day. And that's the one who's sponsored by theperfectpearl.com. And I'm always forgetting to post it to Facebook. So that's Tommy's question. That's where that comes from, and it's very funny. So do men view design differently than women? I don't know. I have a very specific way I design. Typically, I start with stitch patterns. I usually go through stitch pattern books, or I go to a stitch pattern that I've used on a sock maybe, and decide to extrapolate that to a garment like a pullover vest or something like that. I'm not quite sure how women view design, and so it's hard for me to say. Like, I know people like Carol Solkowski and a little bit about her design process, but I'm not sure how that hers doesn't differ that much from mine. I think it's seemingly very analytical, and I start with usually a stitch pattern and do some sort of swatch to make sure it looks good in the yarn I want to do, and then kind of shape the garment, whatever I'm doing by that. I also do a few things, like, for instance, oftentimes I'm kind of a one-trick pony when it comes to doing design patterns. I will oftentimes take a stitch pattern and do 3 things to it. I will attach some sort of slip stitch or elongated stitch pattern to it, use a variegated yarn or 2 variegated yarns, and also kind of knit it lengthwise. So for instance, if I find a stitch pattern that I think would make a really nice scarf, I basically turn it on its side, knit it lengthwise, usually incorporate 2 different colors, and do some sort of stitch pattern that mixes up those 2 stitch patterns and doesn't make the 2 variegated yarns muddy. Since you're a woman who's asking it, Lisa is, perhaps she can say that what the difference is. I don't know that there is a difference, but that's how I do it. I don't think that men have a more naturally developed sense of aesthetic. I think some people do have a more naturally developed sense of aesthetic. I'm not one of those people. I can look at something after it's done and say, yes, I really like how that looks, and I like my aesthetic, but that's also very personal and subjective. But I can't envision oftentimes what it's going to look like beforehand. How can you tell when a project is a no-hoper? That's a really great question, actually. I typically will start to question it after about 3 or 4 inches of knitting, whatever it is, and if that's and then I'll kind of go, if it's clearly a no-hoper, even back then, which is sometimes hard to tell at that small level of knitting, I will go on and do at least about 10 to 12 inches, or sometimes it's like an elongated scarf. And sometimes my entire scarf is really just a swatch, and if it doesn't work, oh well, I will rip it out at that point. Chatting discussion with a knitting friend. Great, thanks. Hopefully we'll do that at one point. So I've gone slightly over the 45-minute mark. If there's anybody that has any last-minute questions, I'd be more than willing to answer those, but I don't see any coming in. So I will just thank you all for joining me, and this seemed to be a very successful as far as I was concerned. I'd love to hear your feedback, so please leave any feedback on YouTube, on Facebook, and I'd be more than happy to respond to those and or modify this in the future if I decide to do it again. But this was a lot of fun, so thanks very much, guys. It was great for you to have joined me, and I will talk to you all soon. And I'll be in contact with the 3 winners of the prize giveaways today. It was great to see you all. Thanks.